Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial. In today's video, we're going to answer the question, what would the Iowa-class battleships have done, what would their job have been if the Cold War had gone hot during their 1980s reactivation? Battleships have certainly captured the public imagination, and a tremendous number of books written about the Cold War going hot feature these ships in them. Probably most prominently is Tom Clancy's Red Storm Rising, which depicts a Soviet attack on the West, including an invasion of Iceland, which the United States then counter-invades, supported by the Iowa-class battleships. The only place where Iowa-class battleships feature into this book is in the shore bombardment role. If you want to play a game which is in part set during the Cold War, try out War Thunder. War Thunder includes naval components, tanks, and aircraft, all the way from the 1920s to the modern day. So a significant number of those vehicles that you can unlock in the game are Cold War era. So you can see how they stack up against each other and how they would have been used. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made and is available now for free on PC and consoles. Immerse yourself in the intense combat of War Thunder, where incredibly detailed vehicles, realistic graphics, and authentic sound effects place you right at the helm of the most powerful war machines of our time. Join a worldwide community of over 70 million players in epic PvP battles today and delve into the breathtaking experience that is War Thunder. With an unmatched wealth of high-quality content to discover, there's simply no game better suited for fans of military history. Play War Thunder now for free on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox. Use my link in the pinned comment or video description to sign up. New players and those who haven't played in 6 months will also receive a massive bonus pack on PC and consoles that includes multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive vehicle decorator Eagle of Valor, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of premium account. Available for a limited time only, so don't miss out. In many ways, simulations like War Thunder give us a better idea of how a Cold War turning hot would have looked than actual training and theorizing at the time. Because of this, I don't believe that the Iowa-class battleships would have been used in the way that they were training for. During the Korean War and Vietnam War, the Iowa-class battleships were reactivated specifically to provide shore bombardment support. But in the 1980s, the Iowas are reactivated for two main reasons: as a hard counter to the Kirov-class battle cruisers, the Russian Navy's 1980s-era capital surface warships, and as a quick way to deploy Tomahawk cruise missiles. The Tomahawk cruise missiles come in a number of varieties, including a nuclear-capable one, of which these ships may or may not have carried at various times, a conventional land attack version, and a conventional sea attack version. Obviously, the land attack version would be useful for the shore bombardment role that the Iowa-class battleships had traditionally fulfilled, while the sea attack version would be better as a long-range anti-ship weapon. Today we're sitting in the Combat Engagement Center on Battleship New Jersey, and I am at the station for the Harpoon missiles with the Tomahawk consoles behind me. The Harpoons are a purely anti-ship weapon. And then to guard against anti-ship missiles, the battleship was also equipped with phalanx close-in weapon systems. Importantly, during the Korean and Vietnam Wars, the Iowa-class battleships were not modified in any way, either offensively or defensively, for surface combat. During the Korean War, the Iowas don't get any sort of major upgrades for fighting enemy ships. They get a shore bombardment computer to supplement their Mark 8 Rangekeeper, which is normally used for attacking ships. They don't get any additional anti-aircraft upgrades. There were some planned to add 3-inch guns, which would have had more stopping power against modern aircraft, but those are never installed. And so, with the exception of a few limited upgrades to existing systems, these ships don't get anything. During Vietnam, it's even more stark. New Jersey has all of her pre 1960s anti-aircraft stuff removed entirely, with the exception of the 5-inch guns, which are dual purpose and primarily used for shore bombardment. And New Jersey receives hardly anything active to defend against missiles, jet aircraft, anything like that. She does get some electronic countermeasures, and she does get some kind of janky chaff launchers, but that's very austere and not really for surface combat, which makes sense. North Korea, North Vietnam, neither one of them can provide a significant threat to an Iowa-class battleship. But in the 1980s, these battleships are upgraded, reactivated, and deployed with groups that are specifically capable of surface action. So they receive electronics and weapon systems and defensive measures to help in a naval battle, and they're deployed with battleship battle groups, which are specifically surface warships designed to go and fight other warships. Much of the training on these ships focuses on getting in engagements with other ships. The war games and exercises that they participate in pit them against other fleets of ships in true naval combat. However, even though the Soviet Union's Navy was growing in size, it could not match NATO's navies. So it's unlikely that the Iowa-class battleships would have been involved in any sort of naval combat. What's more, the two main components of the Soviet military that would have helped in naval combat, their very capable submarine service and their very capable force of bomber aircraft, a force with a doctrine specifically designed to overwhelm the defenses of NATO countries, neither one of those do the Iowa-class battleships have a counter against. If attacked by submarines, we could potentially use helicopters to detect and engage them. However, the Iowa-class battleships weren't assigned helicopters in the 1980s. New Jersey embarked one in like 1982, 1983, but for the rest of the Cold War, she didn't, neither did any of the other Iowas. Likewise, they have no long-range or medium-range air defense systems whatsoever. Once a missile gets within about 2 miles of the ship, we can engage it with the phalanx, but we've only got 4 phalanxes, and that's not going to help against a massed attack. Now, granted, the Iowa-class are operating with a battle group that is going to provide a lot of those features, but these ships are fantastically vulnerable against the sorts of attacks that the Soviets were known to use. It's incredibly likely that these ships would have been guarded and kept away from surface warfare because of their lack of modern defenses. So if it's unlikely for them to actually get involved in surface combat, what would they have been used for? One main reason for reactivating the battleships was to increase the number of deployable battle groups centered around capital ships. At this time, the United States Navy had 15 carrier battle groups, which meant that we could deploy in about 5 places worldwide. Typically, one ship is deployed, one ship is training or traveling to or from a deployment, and a third ship is undergoing major repairs. So realistically, you've got 15 groups, you've got 5 that are deployable, 5 that are in transit or training, and 5 that are down for maintenance. By reactivating the 4 Iowa-class battleships, the Navy was hoping to create 2 more forward-deployed units, one each in the Atlantic and Pacific, with one of the battleships deployed and one of the battleships down for maintenance in each of those theaters. So taking their total from 5 to 7. I suspect this means that the battleship battle groups would have been deployed in out-of-the-way spaces showing the flag where you don't need full carrier battle groups. Because let's face it, without a carrier battle group nearby, the Iowa-class battleships could be very easily disabled by the sorts of massed missile attacks that the Russian air forces were built around the doctrine of delivering. When actually deployed to the war zone, the Iowa-class would have likely been used as they were actually used in 1991, and how they had been previously used in the Korean and Vietnam Wars, and World War II for that matter, since they can't provide significant air defense to the carrier battle groups, and since they're likely to get into range with enemy surface ships quicker than the carrier group's aircraft are going to be able to, they likely wouldn't be doing that escort role that they did during World War II. So that leaves them with the shore bombardment role. If the Cold War had ever gone hot, I believe the Iowa-class battleship's major contribution would have been in supporting amphibious operations. Whether that is some sort of thrust into the Baltic to land behind Soviet lines, whether it's like Tom Clancy thought and it's retaking Iceland, whether it's an attack in the Pacific, maybe on the Kamchatka Peninsula or something like that, or even an invasion of Western Europe to counter-invade after the Soviets had taken it. I believe that that is where the Iowa-class battleships would have shown their most effective service. Using both their large, for that time period, battery of Tomahawk cruise missiles and their 16-inch guns and 5-inch guns, they would have supported amphibious operations probably during the middle and later stages of the war. So those are my thoughts after reading Red Storm Rises recently. What do you guys think? Do you think they would have actually been able to get into surface combat with the comparably smaller number of Soviet ships? Do you think they would have been used in ways other than they were used during the Gulf War, the Korean War, the Vietnam War? Let us know in the comment section down below. Battleship New Jersey receives operating support from the New Jersey Department of State, also from a number of other businesses and private individuals. For today's video, we'd like to thank War Thunder for supporting us. You can play War Thunder now for free on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox. Use my link in the pinned comment or video description to sign up. New players and those who haven't played in 6 months will also receive a massive bonus pack on PC or consoles that includes multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive vehicle decorator Eagle of Valor, 100,000 Silvery Lions, and 7 days of premium account. Available for a limited time only, so don't miss. You can also support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing so more people find about the museum and our channel. Thanks for watching.